Like, what is this? Like, I don't know. What is going on? Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to bring you my first wrap-up of the year. I read a total of 7 books in January, and 2 of them were physical books, 3 of them were audiobooks, and 2 of them were graphic novels or manga. I actually had my first ever 1-star book in January, which I'm a little bit scared to talk about, not gonna lie. But yeah, I also had 1 3-star book, 3 4 stars, and 2 5-star reads. And that is an average rating of 3.71. I read a total of 2,111 pages, and 1,337 of them were physical. You can see the averages per book here. I've bought 11 books in January, and my TBR is currently at 211. And my could start immediately at 116. So I think my next goal in the next few months is to definitely get under 200 books on my TBR. So maybe I can do that by the end of March. But yeah, anyway, let's get into the books. I'm once again going to try to rank them. With my 4-star books, it's kind of not really ranking. But yeah, anyway, let's just get into the first one, which naturally is my 1-star read. So as I told you, I've never given a book 1 star. I thought I would really have to hate a book to give it 1 star. But honestly, there was just nothing that I liked about this book. So I gave 1 star to A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. It's kind of ironic because this was actually in my 5-star predictions list. And I think that's mainly the reason why I gave this 1 star, because on paper this could have been one of my favorite books of all time. This is set at a magical boarding school, which is, I think, my favorite trope in general. And it's supposed to have kind of a dark twist to the story, and yeah. So right off the bat we are thrown into this book with no explanation whatsoever. And that's usually the case with adult fantasy, that you get some info dump in the beginning. However, with this one, it was just so confusing and it didn't get better. Take for example Nevernight. I was so confused the first like 50 pages into that book, but by the end of Nevernight, or you know, by the halfway point, I got why it was there and I could appreciate it. For example, they don't have any teachers, which also is one of my favorite parts of the magical school trope, so that was really not that great. And then also, I really didn't like the characters. The main character really gives off these annoying "I'm not like other girls" vibes. She doesn't really want to be with the other people because she doesn't like them, and they have formed like these groups and she just doesn't want to be part of that, you know, which is fine. But then she's just so rude to them for no reason at all. And then on the next page, she's crying about how lonely she is. Like, I must say that we have some character development by the end of this book, and I did like the protagonists more in the end. However, all the other characters were super shallow. We have Orion, who is also very weird. He just tries to save everyone from these monsters that are in the school. He's super popular, but for some reason he always, you know, follows the protagonist, even though she's super rude to him. So, and then the other characters all seemed like they had the same personality. They weren't distinct at all. I couldn't, you know, tell by the writing style who was talking. And I was halfway through the book and I was waiting for something to happen, but nothing happened. We have some encounters with the monsters in this one, but that's about it. And there also has been some controversy about this book because there's a paragraph about locks where they're called dreadlocks, and they're basically like talked about very negatively, like saying they're disgusting and you shouldn't wear them or something. It was just super passive aggressive and it didn't have to do anything with the story. It was just so unnecessary. Like, why are you putting that in your book? I guess it was to add some kind of atmosphere, but that really backfired. Yeah, I didn't have anything that I liked about this book, which was my main problem and my main reason why I gave this 1 star and not 2. I have other books, for example, Shadow and Bone, which I really didn't enjoy. I gave that one 2 stars. However, that one, I could see how people would enjoy that. It just wasn't the book for me, I guess, but with this one, this should have been my kind of book, you know? So it was just a huge disappointment, and I'm sorry if you like this book. I don't want to bash anyone who likes this, of course. Like, if you enjoyed this, then I'm happy for you. But for me, it just was, no, it was horrible. Then I listened to a German audiobook called Am Arsch vorbei geht auch ein Weg by Alexandra Reinwart, which I gave 3 stars. I think this has also been translated. It's basically about not caring about what other people think, or just caring in general. I don't know if that's offensive, but I feel like that's a book that a middle-aged woman would read and enjoy. Yeah, it was just not really that great. It wasn't even so much about giving advice, but more so about the author telling, you know, her life stories. So yeah, 3 stars. Next up, I have 3 of the 4 middle grade books that I read for my reading experiment. And the first one was Magnus Chase, 9 from the 9 Worlds. And this is a very short story collection set in the world of Magnus Chase. We have a lot of different perspectives in this one, and I just really like Rick Riordan in general as an author, and yeah, I have given this 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, if you haven't checked out his books, I would definitely recommend you to do so. Next up, I read Nevermore by Jessica Townsend, and this follows Morrigan Crow, who's cursed and destined to die on her 11th birthday. But then she's whisked away to the secret society of Nevermore, where she has to take on these trials to be accepted into the Wondrous Society. I really enjoyed this. This was a fun time. It was a little bit whimsical as well. I really like the characters. Yeah, and I cannot wait to read the second book in the series. And then the other middle grade book that I read was Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. This has kind of a similar premise. We follow 12-year-old Sophie, who has these magical powers because she is actually a telepath. And one day she is discovered by a boy called Fitz, who takes her to this other world, and she discovers that she's actually an elf. And yeah, the story goes from there. This was just so much fun. This book was pretty big. It has almost 500 pages. But I really enjoyed this actually, and it was super quick. The writing style is definitely very simplistic, but I really enjoyed that, especially for a middle grade book. And I could definitely see how I would have really loved the story if I read this when I was, you know, that age, around 11 or 12 years old. We have some mystery going on in the series as well. However, not everything is revealed in this book yet, so I'm very much looking forward to reading the sequels. And now to my 5-star reads. I finally finished Death Note Volume 1. Actually, this contains volumes 1 and 2 in this black edition. So in this one, we are following a boy who gets the Death Note, and he discovers that if he writes a name in there, this person is going to die. There are a lot of more rules that we discover, you know, in this first volume about the Death Note and what he can do with that. And he actually uses the Death Note to kill all of the criminals that he sees on TV. So he also has to work against the police and another mysterious person. And this is just so genius. Like, the things that he comes up with in order to, you know, execute these murders. This sounds weird, but you'll get it if you read the manga. It was just so entertaining, and I really want to watch the anime now. So yeah, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed this. yeah, I am really excited to see where the story is going to go. And lastly, I have another 5-star read, which was actually the first book that I picked up in 2021, and it's actually a graphic novel. It is The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse by Charlie McKeesey. This is not really a story, but more so, I don't want to say a advice book, but it has a lot of good quotes, as you can see. So we are following these 4 characters and their friends, and we follow them on their journey. For example, this is one page of it, just super cute. It made me cry. I read this like in the middle of the night, so yeah, I really needed to read this, and I really like this, and I think everyone is going to enjoy this. So yeah, I give this 5 out of 5 stars, and this is probably going to be my favorite book of January. So these are the books that I read in January. Let me know if you have read any of these books. And if you made it to the end of this video, please leave the butterfly emoji down in the comments so that I know you were here. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye, guys.